What is good, Cardano fam, ADA gang? We have lots of exciting updates to unpack today, so hit that subscribe, hit that like. Cardano ADA 24-hour trade volume surpasses $2 billion according to CoinGecko. Cardano founder Charles Hoskinson says we're still doing the Bitcoin class remake. We just have to get a little further along on Bitcoin DeFi because we're going to be able to write code too. Charles says Chainlink is skeptical about engineering cost. It's exceedingly difficult for them to integrate. This would be the first time Chainlink would enter and venture into the UTXO world, and we'd be a big partner. Sergey Nazarov said, you know what? I think we can figure it out. So I think Chainlink integration will come to Cardano, and with the benefit of Bitcoin DeFi and Midnight opening that conversation. So I think one way or another, we will see a Chainlink integration on Cardano. Charles says we need dedicated teams for Near, XRP, and Brave, people that are account managers that talk about the long arc commercial for strategic long-term business and the vision. I think that's a good idea. Charles says we've talked to RLUSD. We got some RLUSD updates, guys. He says we're negotiating to see if we can give Ripple a path to Bitcoin to do the pairing. The interest is more about using Cardano as a good access point into Bitcoin DeFi. We're definitely looking at that. So still ongoing talks, but I think RLUSD and USD1 would be superb. Charles says Leios is going to take Cardano into the next generation. Charles says Leios is going to make Cardano one of the safest, fastest, and one of the best blockchains. Charles says we are going to own the whole map. We're going to be post-quantum all the way through. And because of Midnight and the whole partner chain ecosystem, we'll bring the whole space along as well. Charles predicts that the Clarity Act, if he was a betting man, as he said, if he was going to bet, that if it was to get passed, likely October. So again, October is the deadline for many ETFs. Everything is pointing to Q4. As we speak right now, Ethereum is surpassing all-time highs. Charles says Michael Saylor absolutely could privately yield his Bitcoin through Midnight. Again, fantastic utility. And I think that if we can preserve that decentralization, giving people custody, then we have that competitive advantage with Bitcoin DeFi because we keep the Bitcoin ethos all the way through, rather than trusting multi-sig and other entities. Charles says Lace Mobile will debut this year, and we will have some amazing announcements. Also, before the end of the year, XRP support is coming, which I think is very exciting. Charles was taking a look at some documents and overview on Leios and putting things into AI and just asking it to summarize and saying that Leios actual throughput simulations show above 11,000 TPS. And in theory, the scalability is infinite, but also it's a telescopic protocol. In the event, if there's an error or something like that, it can fall back Leios. So that's good that we have redundancy, but also a level of modularity where we can just crank up the speed as we see fit. Crypto Banter Sheldon says we are having a cooldown on altcoins because we're about to see the biggest breakout since 2021. And we're already pumping, so in his clip here where he says we're days away from markets really starting to have strong momentum to the upside, he even said perhaps hours away. So it might actually be happening as we speak. Retail is not here, but retail comes very quickly. Sheldon says for me, one of the most bullish coins is obviously Cardano. I like that he's such a breath of fresh air, and his takes are very different from Rand Nooner, not to be mixed with his takes, right? So Sheldon is very pro Cardano, very objective, very positive. Sheldon says there's a ton of support and a squeeze building up for Cardano. We're going to see a strong push to the upside for ADA. I want to congratulate SNEK. He's a good SNEK. He's a good pig. There's many great projects on Cardano. SNEK has surpassed 70,000 followers, which is superb. Ethereum passed its all-time high, blazing past 4,900. Not a lot of stuff going on right now, so pretty quiet day. Usually Sundays are pretty quiet for news in general. And ADA is back to 925. Pretty good. 9246, XRP 3.06. Very lovely to see a nice pump. So I don't know if we're going to revisit those lows. I hope you guys' bags are ready, set, go, because with Ethereum at nearly $5,000, everything's looking good. Ethereum is leading. Russell 2000 index, we'll see how it opens in the morning and beyond, but it's climbing. That's a great second indicator. Third good indicator, Bitcoin dominance continues to tumble. And I did do a quick Google search for Bitcoin and Cardano and whatnot, and they've reached new lows. So we may be approaching this kind of like psychological capitulation before we send it. And I think that the couple months ahead are going to be just crazy. With the abundant amount of ETFs, Grayscale, Bitwise, all the other ETFs, we're just going to see a surge in sentiment. And I think that retail will also come along as well. So guys, I think that the shout outs, I want to give a good shout out to Sheldon for just being straight up of saying, one of the most bullish coins for him is ADA. So his coverage is very refreshing. I like his technical analysis. Let me know, guys, what you guys' predictions are. I think that it's still easy for us to surpass our previous all-time high. And for months, if not years now, I've been saying that a $5 to $7 range that we can hit, potentially surpass, is not unreasonable. So I'm not going to sit here and say, $50 ADA, $20 ADA. I like to be a little bit more pragmatic and err on the side of caution. But lest we forget that the markets are highly irrational, emotional, speculative, and with a 20x increase in stablecoin issuance, no end in sight for debt, the money printer being prime, and rate cuts, which what seems to be looking like right around the corner, I think we're going to have a very exciting altcoin season, which I'm targeting Q4. So guys, let me know your targets, your predictions. Smash that subscribe, smash that like. I'll see you guys in the next Angry Crypto Show.